Greetings and welcome to another impressions video here at Words About Games, and today we're going to be looking at Anthem. Anthem is the new live service open world shooter from former RPG heavyweight studio BioWare. The game puts players in the role of a freelancer, mech pilots who were once hailed as heroes who battle cataclysms caused by the ancient technology called the Anthem of Creation. After a disastrous failed mission to the Heart of Rage, the game cuts to 2 years later, where you're tasked with saving the world from a new threat and rebuilding your tattered reputation. Anthem is a frustrating game in a lot of ways. There are technical issues, baffling mission design elements, and poorly conceived game mechanics, and I'll get to all of those shortly. But Anthem's biggest frustration is that buried somewhere in this mess is a good game. There are flashes of brilliance and moments of fun to be had as you uncover the story, meet new characters, and blast your way across the world of Bastion in what is essentially an Iron Man suit with guns and magic powers. Combat is actually quite fun. It's not as sharp as some of its genre stablemates, but the mech-suited power fantasy more than makes up the difference. You'll start by choosing between 4 javelins, each with their own playstyle. Storm Javelins, for example, use elemental attacks to deal massive combo damage and inflict status effects, where Interceptors are quick, nimble, and come with powerful melee attacks. As you play, you'll collect new gear that unlocks new or different types of abilities, giving you access to new powers that shift your playstyle somewhat, enhancing the ways in which you can approach the game's fights. Diving into enemies and shredding them with your favourite javelin is a rush. It's even quite well balanced to be played solo, despite the game insisting I was missing out by not playing with internet randos, which is never the case. Playing with others is a mess. You'll routinely miss cutscenes or key pieces of dialogue if you do, and every time I've gone into free play matchmaking, everyone just bolts off in different directions, making the whole process utterly meaningless. It's a shame that the lackluster mission design spoils how much fun the gameplay can be. Every single mission in Anthem sees you either have to track down some mission-critical objects with an annoyingly vague GPS locator, fight waves of enemies until a boss shows up, or pick up glowing orbs and transport them to a central location. After only a few hours, it becomes pretty tedious, and there's only so much the fun core combat can cover for this. Looting, however, is the real nightmare. And for a game like Anthem, whose gameplay loop is centered around finding and equipping new and more powerful loot, it starts to ruin the entire experience. You can't just find a cool new gun after defeating an elite enemy or an awesome new power-up in a chest and start blasting enemies with it. Every time you pick something up, you know nothing about it except its rarity. Instead, you have to head back to Fort Tarsis, Anthem's hub world, to find out what you've acquired and equip it. In a loot shooter, if you try out a new piece of gear and decide you don't like it, there's no way to equip something else unless you drop whatever you're doing and head back to Fort Tarsus to equip something else. New gear also comes with various stat boosts, which might make your character more powerful, but since there's no way to see what your overall stats are, this is functionally meaningless. Choosing between gear that increases my armor or my cooldown times doesn't really mean anything if I can't see what effects that'll have. And that's when the bonuses even make sense, which they often don't. I once picked up a piece of equipment that said support plus minus 20%. I have literally no idea what this means. Flying, the most thrilling part of Anthem, isn't without some depressing flaws of its own. Taking flight and blasting across the world is exhilarating until you start to overheat and need to land for a moment or two before taking off again. You can cool off by diving, flying through a waterfall, or skimming the surface of some water, but when none of those are an option, you've just got to hit the ground and wait for a second or two. Quite why BioWare put this magnificent flight mechanic in the game, only to add such a frustrating limitation to how you can use it, is beyond me. And all of this is when the game even works properly. I could have made this entire video a bug report. Disconnects and hard crashes are frequent. The frame rate constantly crashes in the open world and makes playing an unpleasant experience. I've had quest rewards bug out and force me to replay entire quest lines. Enemies will randomly appear and disappear in the field, and often their health bars just won't appear when I'm aiming at them. Characters will glitch out in Fort Tarsus constantly, a place where I've never managed to reach a frame rate I'd generously describe as early PUBG. It's a technical mess, exacerbated by having to sit through frequent loading screens just to get anywhere. Between returning from a mission, picking up the next one, equipping new gear and heading out, you're looking at 7 loading screens, each of which can last a minute or more. The story and characters, a staple of BioWare games, is actually pretty decent. Some of the characters you meet and interact with, such as your partner Owen, are brilliant. Even the central plot is quite good. I won't get into any specifics, but for all Anthem's flaws, I was happy to keep playing to see where the story would go. Until around the 5-hour mark, where Anthem pulls the handbrake on the story and sends you on a quest to open some mysterious tombs. You open these tombs by completing challenges. Get 50 melee kills, opening 15 treasure chests, completing 5 world events, that sort of thing. I tried to push through this questline, I really did, but it's just killed the game stone dead for me. Most live service games are kind enough to mask the fact that they're a non-stop grind with interesting characters, story hooks, or events. Within a few hours, Anthem just becomes a straight-up actual grind. What should have been an optional way to grind gear or currency becomes the main purpose of the game, and after an hour or two of scouring Bastion for treasure chests, all the goodwill that the interesting characters and fun combat have built up has evaporated. I went from enjoying the game, despite its flaws, to never wanting to play it again. Thank you very much for watching this video, guys. If you've enjoyed it, please keep it here at Words About Games. We've got tons of content, including our weekly podcast, more impressions videos, patch notes, and our weekly indie game of the week. We also stream over on Twitch at twitch.tv/wordsaboutgames every Monday, Thursday, and Saturday. And most importantly, have a great day.